if you could have done more, if you'd only known what to look for. That's why I'm sharing this with you now. Not to scare you, not to be sad, but because knowing these things early gives us time. Time to prepare, to say what matters, to be gentle with each other. These are the 5 signs I've seen over and over again in those final months. I hope that by listening, you'll be ready when someone close starts to show them, ready to walk with them, not behind, not ahead, but right beside them, with love and peace in your heart. 1. The kind of tired that doesn't go away. My friends, one of the first things I've seen, again and again, is a deep kind of tiredness that just won't let up. This isn't the kind of tired you fix with a nap or a good night's sleep. It's the kind that lives in your bones. I've watched people go from taking daily walks to barely making it out of bed. Even brushing their hair or sitting up to eat becomes too much. At first, we think maybe they're just getting older. Maybe they need more rest. But over time, it becomes clear their energy isn't coming back. You see, when the body starts slowing down for real, it stops using energy the same way. The heart doesn't pump like it used to. Muscles get less oxygen. Just being awake becomes hard work. And when you add in little things like infections, poor appetite, or sadness, it drains them even more. What breaks my heart most is how people pull away. Folks who used to laugh and talk start turning quiet. Not because they don't care, but because even conversation feels too heavy. That's when they need us most. Not to cheer them up or make them do more, but just to sit with them, listen, and let them rest without guilt. If you see this kind of deep fatigue in someone you love, don't push them. Love them gently. Their body is doing what it needs to do, and so should we. 2. Losing weight without trying. Another sign I've seen in many old friends, and in myself too, is unplanned weight loss. It starts small. Their pants feel loose, shirts hang a little different, or they say food just doesn't taste good anymore. Maybe they leave half their meal untouched or stop asking for seconds. At first, we tell ourselves it's just part of aging, but when the pounds keep slipping away without any effort, it's time to pay attention. Our bodies change when we get older, sure, but when someone starts dropping weight quickly, it's often because their system isn't working like it used to. The stomach doesn't digest as well, the muscles begin to break down, and even the brain stops sending hunger signals like before. Sometimes there's an illness hiding underneath. Cancer, heart issues, kidney trouble. Other times it's depression, grief, or simply the body preparing for its final stage. Families mean well. They try to help by bringing favorite dishes, making smoothies, or urging just one more bite. I've done it too, but sometimes no matter how much you offer, their appetite just isn't there. And pushing too hard only makes mealtime stressful. What I've learned is this: comfort matters more than calories. Soft, simple meals, warm drinks, a quiet table, those things go a long way. When someone starts losing weight near the end, it's not just about how they look. It's a message. And when we understand that message, we can stop fighting the change and start making the most of the time we still have. 3. The mind starts to drift. One of the hardest things I've seen, and felt too, if I'm being honest, is when the mind starts to slip. It doesn't usually happen all at once. At first, it's little things. Forgetting what day it is, repeating a story you just told, struggling to find the right words. Then it grows. They start losing track of time, getting confused in their own home, or calling loved ones by the wrong name. Sometimes they go quiet. Other times they get easily upset over small things. It's not just forgetfulness. When someone's nearing the end of their journey, the brain, like every other part of the body, starts to slow down. It's not getting the oxygen or blood flow it needs. And so the person you know begins to fade in and out, like a radio signal growing weaker. I've watched friends pull away from conversations, stop joining in at dinner, or sit in silence for hours. It's not that they've stopped loving you. It's that talking, thinking, and even feeling can become too much. Their world becomes smaller and quieter, and that's okay. What they need from us isn't correction or reminders. They need presence. Sit with them. Hold their hand. Smile even when they don't remember why. The truth is, even when the mind forgets, the heart still feels. And sometimes the most powerful way to love someone is simply to be there, without needing anything in return. 4. Getting sick more often and healing more, slowly. Another thing I've seen, especially in the last stretch of life, is how often folks get sick and how long it takes them to bounce back. A little cold that used to clear up in a few days now hangs around for weeks. A small cut on the leg doesn't heal like it should. Some get one infection after another: urinary tract infections, chest congestion, sores that won't close. It's not just bad luck. It's the body showing us it can't fight like it used to. As we age, our immune system weakens. I've seen it in neighbors, in my wife before she passed, and in myself too. Things that once felt minor become big obstacles. Antibiotics stop working as well. Simple things, like brushing teeth or turning in bed, can lead to problems if we're not careful. Some of the folks I knew started getting pressure sores just from lying still too long. What's even trickier is that infections in older folks don't always look like you'd expect. No high fevers, no loud complaints. Sometimes they just seem more tired, or they stop eating, or they seem confused out of nowhere. That's the infection talking, not just old age. Now I know we want to fix it. Take them to the hospital, get more medicine, and sometimes that's the right move. But near the end, more pills don't always mean more comfort. Sometimes what helps most is the simple stuff: clean sheets, soft clothes, warm soup, a hand to hold. When healing slows, we shift from trying to cure to caring with tenderness, and that kind of care, that's what really stays with people. 5. Changes in breathing and cold hands and feet. This last one, friends, is something I've seen more than once, and I'll never forget it. When a person is nearing the end, their breathing starts to change. It can become shallow or uneven. Sometimes they'll breathe fast for a while, then pause, then start again. It's called Cheney-Stokes breathing, and once you've heard it, you recognize it. It's the body's way of slowing down, of doing less and conserving energy. Along with that, their hands and feet often get cold, sometimes even their nose or ears. The skin might look pale or a little bluish, especially around the fingers and toes. That's because the heart isn't pumping blood like it used to. The body starts sending what little blood it has to the important parts: the brain, the lungs, the heart. The rest gets left behind. I remember sitting beside an old friend of mine. He couldn't lie flat anymore because it made breathing too hard. We had to prop him up on pillows just so he could rest. And he'd whisper, "Don't worry, I'm okay." Even when I could see the struggle in his chest, it's natural to want to do something, to panic, to call someone. But sometimes these changes aren't emergencies. They're just part of the body's final rhythm. Instead of fixing it, we comfort them. We keep the room cool. We offer sips of water. We speak softly. Sometimes we simply sit still so they know they're not alone. When you see these signs, cold skin, odd breathing, that faraway look in their eyes, know this: they're not scared. They're just moving slowly toward the next place. And what they need most isn't another doctor. It's you, your calm voice, your hand in theirs, and the peace of knowing they are loved right through the end. Final thoughts: what I've learned after a century. Now that we've talked through these 5 signs, the deep tiredness, the quiet weight loss, the fading mind, the infections that just won't go away, and the changes in breath and warmth, I want to leave you with something I've carried in my heart a long time. When I was younger, I used to think we had to fight every sign of aging, feed them more, push them to walk, try one more treatment, call one more doctor. But now at 100, I see things differently. These signs aren't enemies. They're signals, gentle ones. The body's way of telling us, I'm getting ready. Not in a scary way, not suddenly, but quietly, over time. And when we learn to listen to those signals, we stop wasting precious time. We stop trying to fix what can't be fixed. We start doing what matters most: being there, sitting close, talking less, listening more, holding their hand, helping them feel safe, not scared, loved, not alone. If someone you care about is showing these signs, take a deep breath. This isn't the end of love. It's a chance to show the deepest kind, a kind that doesn't need words or strength or even memory, just presence. So from one old friend to another, let's not miss these signs. Let's not wait until it's too late to say the things that matter. Let's walk with them gently every step of the way. And let's make sure they feel one thing above all else: peace. Part 2. Simple ways to bring comfort to elderly loved ones in their final months. My friends, at the end, it's not the big things that matter. It's the quiet moments, the gentle touch, the sound of a familiar voice. If someone you love is near the end, don't focus on what you can't fix. Focus on what you can give: comfort, peace, love. These are the gifts they'll carry with them and the memories you'll hold forever. Let's not rush these moments. Let's make them count. 1. Create a calm, familiar space. My friends, if there's one thing I've seen bring comfort near the end, it's this: being in a place that feels safe and familiar. When the world starts to feel confusing or overwhelming, the simplest things can make a big difference. A quiet room, soft lighting, warm blankets. I always say peace doesn't need to be fancy. It just needs to feel like home. I remember sitting with my wife in her final months. We didn't need a hospital room full of machines. We needed her favorite chair by the window, that old knitted blanket her sister made, and the photo of our wedding day on the table. Those little things grounded her, reminded her who she was and where she belonged. Keep the noise low. Turn off the TV unless it brings them joy. Let the sunlight in during the day and use a soft lamp at night. And please don't move the furniture around unless you have to. When your memory starts to fade, knowing exactly where things are brings a kind of comfort that words can't. Familiarity is more than convenience. It's reassurance. It tells them you're safe, you're home, and you're not alone. 2. Be present, even in silence. Let me tell you something I've learned over the years, dear friends. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply be there. You don't have to fill the room with words. You don't have to come up with the perfect thing to say. In fact, near the end, it's not the conversations that matter most. It's your presence. I've sat beside folks who didn't say a word for hours, just holding their hand, listening to the sound of their breathing, letting them feel that I was there, still with them. That's what brought comfort. Not the talking, not the fixing, just the quiet togetherness. And when they forget things, names, places, even who you are, don't take it personally. Don't correct them. Just meet them where they are. If they think it's 1972 again, then let it be 1972. Go there with them. Smile, nod, and let them feel heard and understood. Being present in silence says, "You matter. I'm not going anywhere. And I love you just as you are." That's a gift no medicine in the world can give. 3. Gentle physical care goes a long way. At this stage of life, comfort becomes everything. I've seen it time and again. The smallest touch can bring the greatest relief. You don't need to be a nurse or know all the right techniques. You just need to care and to be gentle. Start with the basics: soft, loose clothing that doesn't rub or squeeze. Keep them warm, especially their hands and feet. Older bodies lose heat fast. And when it's time to help them wash or change clothes, go slowly. Talk to them softly while you do it. Let them know what's happening so they never feel rushed or embarrassed. A warm towel on their hands, a gentle foot rub, or softly brushing their hair. Those little acts mean more than most people realize. They say, "I see you. I'm here with you. You're still worthy of care." And listen, don't force things. If their body is tired, let it be tired. If they wince or pull back, stop. Let their body guide you. It knows what it needs, even in silence. At the end of the day, the goal isn't to fix or get through a task. It's to make sure they feel safe, clean, and cared for, with kindness in every touch. 4. Bring in the sounds and faces they love. As we get older, especially near the end, the world can start to feel smaller, quieter, even lonely. But I've found that one of the most comforting things you can offer isn't a fancy gift or a grand gesture. It's the simple sound of a familiar voice or the sight of a face they've loved for years. Play the music they used to hum along to, old tunes from their youth, gentle songs that bring peace. Music has a way of reaching the heart, even when memory fades. I once played an old jazz record for a friend who hadn't spoken in days, and I saw a tear roll down his cheek. That's the kind of power music holds. If they're up for it, let close family visit, just for a few minutes. No big groups, no long conversations. Sometimes just hearing a grandchild say, "I love you," or seeing a familiar smile can brighten their whole day. And don't worry if they don't respond. Talk anyway. Tell them old stories, remind them of happy times, even if they don't answer. Because here's the truth. They feel more than they show, even when they're quiet, even when their eyes are closed. Your love gets through, in your voice, in your stories, and in the way you choose to show up. 5. Say what needs to be said. Gently, my dear friends, if there's one thing I've learned in 100 years, it's this. We don't always get the chance to say what's in our hearts, unless we make that chance. When someone you love is nearing the end, don't wait for the right moment. The right moment is now. Tell them you love them. Say thank you for the little things they did that shaped your life. And if there's been hurt, say you're sorry, even if the words are hard. You don't have to say everything perfectly. Just speak from the heart. A quiet, "I'm here" can mean the world. Give them space to speak too, if they're able. Sometimes they'll want to share something, even just a whisper. But don't push. This isn't about finishing conversations or fixing old wounds. It's about giving both of you peace. In the end, it's not the big speeches we remember. It's the honest, gentle words spoken with love. Let your goodbye be simple. Let it be real. And let it be filled with the kind of grace that only comes from knowing, in your bones, that love was given and received all the way through. Closing thoughts way from one old soul to another. My friends, thank you for walking through this with me. These final months, they're tender, sacred, and sometimes hard to talk about. But they're also full of chances. Chances to slow down, to show up, to love more quietly but more deeply. After 100 years, I can tell you, it's not the medicine or the machines that stay with a person in their final days. It's the gentle things, the warm blanket, the sound of a familiar song, a hand held in silence, the look in someone's eyes when you say, "I love you." If you're caring for someone in this chapter of life, know this. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be present. You don't need all the answers. You just need to offer peace. Because when the end comes, and it will for all of us, what matters most is not how long we held on, but how well we let go, with kindness, with dignity, and with love. And if you're going through this right now, I'm with you. You're not alone. We walk this road together, one step, one breath, one soft goodbye at a time. Part 1. What a 100-year-old doctor wants you to know about living longer after 70. Dr. John Scharfenberg, a physician who has lived over a century, has spent his life studying health, longevity, and the simple choices that make a big difference as we age. Now in his hundreds, he often reflects on what he's seen, not only in his patients, but in his own life. He believes that how long we live after 70 isn't just about luck or genetics. In fact, your body is constantly sending you signals about how you're aging. And if you pay attention, those signs can tell you a lot about your future. In this video, Dr. Scharfenberg shares 7 proven signs that may predict how long you'll live after 70. These are not guesses or old wives' tales. They're backed by science and decades of medical observation. Whether you're feeling strong and active, or you're starting to slow down, these signs can help you better understand your body and take steps to stay healthy for years to come. 1. How fast you walk tells a bigger story than you think. Let me tell you something I've learned after 100 years of living. The way you walk says a lot about your future. I'm not talking about how stylish your shoes are or how straight your posture is. I'm talking about your walking speed. When I was in my 70s, I started noticing that some of my friends were slowing down. They needed more breaks. They struggled with stairs, and crossing the street became a challenge. Not me. I made walking a daily habit. I walked with purpose, even if it was just around the block. And here's the truth. The faster and steadier you walk, the stronger your heart, lungs, muscles, and even your brain tend to be. Science backs this up. Doctors have found that slower walking speed is one of the early signs of declining health. So if you've noticed yourself moving slower lately, don't just shrug it off. Start small. Take more walks, move your legs, stretch a little each morning. Your legs are like your foundation. Once they weaken, everything else follows. Walking may seem simple, but in my experience, it's one of the clearest signs of how much life you still have ahead. 2. A firm grip means more than you think. At my age, a handshake tells me more than words ever could. When I shake someone's hand, I can feel their strength, or the loss of it. Grip strength, my friends, is a quiet but powerful sign of how well your body is doing. Back when I was in my 70s, I made it a point to keep using my hands. Opening jars, carrying groceries, even squeezing a tennis ball while watching TV. Why? Because studies show that a strong grip is linked to better muscle health, stronger nerves, and a lower risk of serious illness. I've seen too many people dismiss their weakening hands as just aging, but it's not just aging, it's your body warning you. When your grip gets weaker, it often means your whole body is losing strength. The good news? You can do something about it. Simple exercises like using hand grippers, lifting light weights, or doing daily chores with your hands can help. Don't wait until you can't open a bottle. Start now. In my 100 years, I've learned that how well you hold on to things physically often reflects how well you're holding on to life itself. 3. Balance isn't just about not falling, it's about staying strong. You might not think much about balance until you start losing it. I remember one day in my late 70s, I tried to stand on one leg like I used to during my youth. To my surprise, I wobbled. That was a wake-up call. Balance, it turns out, is one of the clearest signs of how well your body and your brain are aging. If you can't stand on one foot for at least 10 seconds without holding on to something, it might mean your muscles, coordination, or even your brain function is starting to decline. But here's the good news. Balance is something you can work on, even in your 70s, 80s, or 90s. I started practicing every day, standing on one foot while brushing my teeth, walking heel to toe in the hallway, even trying a bit of Tai Chi with friends. Over time, I felt steadier and more confident moving around. Remember, most dangerous falls don't happen because someone is weak. They happen because someone loses balance. So give it a try. Stand up, lift one foot, and count. If you can't make it to 10, don't be discouraged. Just start practicing. In my 100 years, I've learned that balance isn't just physical. It's the foundation of independence. 4. Sleep is your body's nightly repair shop. At 100 years old, I don't take a good night's sleep for granted, and neither should you. Sleep isn't just about closing your eyes and resting. It's the time when your body repairs itself, your immune system recharges, and your brain clears out waste and resets. I've known people who brag about needing only 4 or 5 hours of sleep, but most of them didn't age well. After I turned 70, I made sleep a priority. I went to bed and woke up at the same time every day, stayed away from screens before bedtime, and made sure I got morning sunlight to keep my body clock steady. If you're tossing and turning all night, waking up tired, or struggling to stay asleep, don't ignore it. Poor sleep in older adults is linked to memory problems, high blood pressure, depression, and even a shorter life. The good news is there are simple changes you can make. Keep your bedroom cool and dark, avoid heavy meals before bed, and create a calming bedtime routine. Sleep isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. In my century of life, I've seen one thing clearly. Those who sleep well live better, think clearer, and feel younger. So take sleep seriously. Your future depends on it. 5. Your appetite says more than you realize. One thing I always tell my friends is this: never ignore changes in your appetite. After I turned 70, I paid close attention to how I felt about food. Not just what I ate, but whether I wanted to eat at all. A healthy appetite usually means your body is working the way it should. Your digestion, energy, and even your mood are in balance. But when I saw old friends start skipping meals, losing weight without trying, or saying they just weren't hungry anymore, I knew something wasn't right. Losing your appetite in old age can be a red flag. It might mean your body isn't absorbing nutrients properly, or that your metabolism is slowing down. Sometimes it's a sign of depression or even early cognitive decline. I made it a habit to cook simple, nutritious meals with fresh ingredients, lots of vegetables, beans, and whole grains. I drank enough water, avoided too many sweets, and made eating a part of my daily rhythm, not just something I did when I remembered. If you're not enjoying food the way you used to, or you've lost weight without trying, don't brush it off. Your body is trying to tell you something. In my 100 years, I've learned this. Eating well isn't just about staying full, it's about staying strong, sharp, and independent. Every bite counts. 6. How you handle stress shapes how you age. If there's one thing I've seen ruin health faster than anything else, it's stress, especially the kind you carry around quietly for years. At my age, I've faced my share of tough times, loss, illness, uncertainty, but one of the most valuable lessons I've learned is how to let go. After 70, your body doesn't recover from stress the way it used to. Constant worry can raise your blood pressure, weaken your immune system, mess with your sleep, and even speed up aging. I had a friend, Richard, who worried about everything: his health, his family, even the weather. He always looked tired. Meanwhile, I practiced deep breathing, spent time with good company, and tried to laugh every day. I chose to focus on the things I could control and let go of the rest. That mindset didn't just make me feel better, it helped me stay healthier. Stress is sneaky. It doesn't always show up as panic. Sometimes it's just tension in your shoulders, feeling overwhelmed, or snapping at small things. But it builds up. So find something that calms you. Walking, journaling, talking to a friend, or even just sitting in silence for 5 minutes. At 100, I can tell you this. Learning to handle stress isn't just good for the heart. It gives you peace, energy, and more years to enjoy life. 2. 7. Staying connected keeps you alive, literally. If I had to choose one thing that kept me going all these years, it wouldn't be vitamins or exercise. It would be people, friends, family, conversations. After 70, your social life isn't just about passing the time, it's a lifeline. I've seen it with my own eyes. The folks who stay socially active, who laugh, who share meals, who call their children or join community groups, they live longer and they live better. On the other hand, I've watched old friends isolate themselves, saying they don't want to bother anyone. And slowly their health faded too. Loneliness, my friends, is dangerous. It can raise your risk of heart disease, dementia, depression, and even early death. I made it a point to reach out, even when I didn't feel like it. A phone call, a short visit, a walk with a neighbor. These small things matter more than we think. They keep your mind sharp, your heart warm, and your spirit alive. Even if you've lost friends or family, it's never too late to reconnect or to meet someone new. A shared story, a good laugh, a listening ear. Those things are healing. After a century of living, I can say this with confidence. We were never meant to go through life alone. The more you stay connected, the more fully and the more joyfully you'll live. Final thoughts. It's never too late to strengthen your future. Now that you've heard these 7 signs: walking speed, grip strength, balance, sleep quality, appetite, stress, and social connection, I want you to remember something important. None of these are fixed. At 100 years old, I'm living proof that you can keep improving even in your later years. The body and mind are more adaptable than we think, especially when we treat them with care, consistency, and kindness. Don't wait for a doctor to tell you to make changes. If you've noticed you're slowing down, feeling weaker, or spending more time alone, take it seriously but don't feel discouraged. Start where you are. Take a walk. Call an old friend. Cook yourself a good meal. Stand on one foot while brushing your teeth. Breathe deeply. Smile more often. These small actions add up. They're how I got here, one day at a time. Living long isn't about avoiding death. It's about embracing life. And if you're over 70, I want you to know this. There is still so much life left to enjoy, to give, and to share. So take care of yourself. You deserve to thrive, not just survive, in the years ahead.
If you find these stories inspiring and they motivate you to take action, please comment 9. If not, comment 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Thank you for your valuable time.
Part 2. What I stopped doing after 70 that helped me live to 100. My dear friends, if there's one thing I've learned after reaching 100, it's this. Sometimes it's not about what you start doing, it's about what you stop doing. After I turned 70, I made some small but powerful changes in my daily life. Not by adding more pressure or chasing after youth, but by letting go of habits that were quietly wearing me down. I didn't realize it at the time, but these choices helped me stay stronger, think clearer, and feel more alive, even as the years kept passing. Today, I want to share with you 5 things I stopped doing after 70 that truly made a difference. These aren't fancy tricks or doctor's orders, just honest decisions from one old soul to another. Maybe they'll help you too. 1. I stopped sitting too long without moving. Back in my early 70s, I could sit for hours, reading, watching TV, doing puzzles, without thinking twice. I thought I was just relaxing, but over time, I started feeling stiff. My legs felt weaker, and getting up became harder. One day, I almost lost my balance just standing up too quickly. That was a wake-up call. I realized that sitting too long was slowly taking away my strength and stability. So I made a simple change. I stopped sitting still for long stretches. Every 30 minutes or so, I'd stand up, stretch my legs, walk around the house, even just to get a glass of water. It didn't take much, but it made a big difference. My circulation improved, my legs felt stronger, and I felt more awake throughout the day. At 100 years old, I can tell you, movement keeps you alive. You don't need to run marathons, just don't stay still too long. Your body was made to move, even just a little at a time. 2. I stopped eating heavy dinners late at night. When I was younger, I didn't think twice about eating a big dinner, sometimes as late as 8 or 9 at night. A full plate of food made me feel satisfied and ready to relax. But after I turned 70, things changed. I started feeling bloated, had trouble falling asleep, and often woke up feeling sluggish. My body just couldn't handle heavy meals late in the evening anymore. So I made a small but powerful change. I stopped eating large dinners at night. Instead, I started having lighter meals earlier in the evening, usually by 6 o'clock. I focused on vegetables, soups, or something easy to digest. And you know what? I started sleeping better. I woke up feeling lighter, more rested, and with more energy for the day. At 100, I can honestly say this one change made a big difference. Your digestion slows down with age, and eating too much too late puts extra stress on your body. So if you're tossing and turning at night, try eating less and earlier. Give your body the rest it deserves. 3. I stopped pretending everything was fine. For many years, I kept things to myself. If I felt sad, worried, or lonely, I'd smile and say, I'm fine. That's how a lot of us were raised, to be strong, to keep our feelings inside, to not trouble others. But after 70, I realized that silence can be heavy. Carrying around unspoken stress or sadness started to affect my sleep, my mood, even my energy. So I stopped pretending. If something was bothering me, I talked about it with a friend, a family member, or sometimes I just write it down. Letting it out helped more than I expected. I felt lighter. My mind was clearer. I laughed more, connected more, and didn't feel so alone with my thoughts. At 100, I know this for sure. Holding in your feelings doesn't make you stronger. Letting them out, sharing them, that's what keeps your heart and mind healthy. You don't have to carry everything by yourself. Talk to someone. You'll be surprised how much better you'll feel. 4. I stopped avoiding the doctor. I'll be honest with you. When I was younger, I didn't like going to the doctor. I told myself, if I feel okay, why bother? But after I turned 70, I realized that waiting until something feels wrong is often too late. Some of my friends ignored small symptoms, skipped checkups, and didn't want to hear bad news. Sadly, some of them didn't get the chance to catch things early, and it cost them. So I made a decision. I stopped avoiding the doctor. I started going for regular checkups, even when I felt fine. I listened, I asked questions, and I followed advice. Thanks to that, we caught a few things early. Nothing too serious, but enough to make a difference. Staying ahead of problems gave me peace of mind and probably added years to my life. At 100, I can tell you, seeing the doctor doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're wise. Prevention is always better than emergency. Don't wait until it hurts. Go while you still feel good, and stay that way as long as you can. 5. I stopped saying, I'm too old for that. There was a time right after I turned 70 when I caught myself saying, I'm too old for that, more than I should have. Whether it was learning something new, going on a short trip, trying out a new hobby, or even using a smartphone, I dismissed it, thinking it was for younger folks. But one day I realized that mindset was shrinking my world. Not my age, my attitude was holding me back. So I stopped saying those words. Instead, I started saying, why not give it a try? I picked up new hobbies, joined a small book club, learned how to video chat with my grandchildren, and even tried gentle yoga. I didn't master everything, but that wasn't the point. What mattered was that I stayed curious and open. Now at 100, I believe this with all my heart. Staying young isn't about your body, it's about your spirit. When you stop saying, I'm too old, you start making room for joy, connection, and purpose. And that, my friends, is what keeps you truly alive. Final thoughts. Letting go gave me more life. Looking back over these past 30 years, I don't think I lived longer because of some secret formula. I think it's because I let go of the things that were quietly pulling me down. Sitting too long, eating too late, bottling up my emotions, avoiding the doctor, thinking I was too old to try something new. These habits didn't change overnight, but little by little, I made different choices, and those choices made all the difference. So if you're in your 70s or 80s, don't think it's too late to change. I'm living proof that small shifts can lead to a stronger, more joyful life. Even at 100, you don't need to do everything at once. Just start by letting go of one thing that isn't serving you anymore. You'll be amazed how much lighter, healthier, and more alive you'll feel. Life doesn't slow down because of age. It slows down when we stop paying attention. So keep going, keep growing, and keep choosing life, one simple decision at a time. Part 3, 5 daily habits that help me live to 100. My friends, I've seen a full century come and go, and I'm still here. People often ask me, what's your secret? Expecting some magic pill or miracle cure. But the truth is much simpler than that. I didn't chase the latest health fads or try to live a perfect life. I just stuck to a few small habits every single day. Little things that kept my body moving, my mind sharp, and my heart full. Over time, those small choices added up. So today, from one old friend to another, I want to share the 5 daily habits that I truly believe help me make it to 100, and more importantly, help me enjoy the journey. 1. Morning walks. The best way to start the day. Every morning, rain or shine, I take a walk. It doesn't have to be far or fast, just enough to get my legs moving and my lungs full of fresh air. I started doing this in my 70s, and I haven't stopped. Some days I walked around the block, other days just to the mailbox and back. But I kept going. Those quiet minutes in the morning gave me more than just exercise. They gave me peace, routine, and a sense of purpose to start the day. Walking keeps the heart strong, the joints flexible, and the mind clear. And at my age, I can tell you, if you want to keep moving through life, you've got to keep moving, period. So don't worry about distance or speed. Just put on your shoes, step outside, and take that first step. It's a habit that's carried me for decades. 2. Eating simple, real food. No tricks, just nourishment. One thing I've always believed is this: food should be simple, honest, and made with care. I didn't grow up with fast food or fancy diets, and I sure didn't need them to live this long. I've stuck to what I call real food: vegetables, fruits, whole grains, beans, and a little bit of healthy fat. I never skipped meals, and I never ate just to fill my stomach. I ate to fuel my body. I cooked most of my meals at home and tried to avoid processed junk. At my age, digestion isn't as strong as it once was, so gentle, natural foods became even more important. I kept my portions moderate, drank plenty of water, and stayed away from too much sugar or heavy food at night. Eating this way gave me steady energy, better sleep, and a strong immune system. It may not sound exciting, but let me tell you, simple food has kept me going for 100 years, and I wouldn't change a thing. 3. Staying connected. One good conversation a day. If there's one thing I've learned in 100 years, it's this. We don't stay alive just because of medicine. We stay alive because of connection. Every day I make it a point to talk to someone. It could be a quick phone call to an old friend, a short chat with a neighbor, or just sitting down with family over a cup of tea. These small moments keep the heart warm and the mind sharp. I've seen too many people my age slowly pull away from others, thinking they don't want to bother anyone. But isolation is dangerous. It makes the days feel longer and the spirit feel weaker. When I laugh with someone, share a memory, or just listen to their voice, I feel alive. That's why I tell all my friends, don't wait for others to reach out. Pick up the phone, send a message, wave to someone across the street. A little connection each day goes a long way, and it might just add years to your life. 4. Quiet time. Just 10 minutes to breathe and be still. Every day I give myself at least 10 quiet minutes. No noise, no screens, no rushing around. Just me, sitting still, breathing, and letting my thoughts settle. I started doing this in my 70s when life began to slow down, but my mind didn't. At first it felt strange, doing nothing, but soon I realized how powerful those moments were. It became my way to reset, to check in with myself, and to calm the stress that builds up over time. Sometimes I sit by the window and watch the trees. Other times I close my eyes and think of all the things I'm thankful for. I don't call it meditation or prayer. I just call it peace. And after 100 years of life, I can tell you this. The world will keep spinning, but you don't have to spin with it. Take a few quiet minutes each day. Your heart, your mind, and your spirit will thank you. 5. Keep learning. One new thing every day. Even now at 100 years old, I still try to learn something new every single day. It doesn't have to be big. Sometimes it's a new word, a bit of history I didn't know, or a recipe I've never tried. Other times I just ask my grandchildren about something they're interested in, like their music or the apps they use. I believe curiosity keeps the brain alive. I've seen people stop learning after retirement, and their minds started to fade much faster. But those who stay curious, who keep reading, asking questions, or trying new things, they stay sharper, more positive, and more engaged with life. I read the newspaper, listen to the radio, or even try a puzzle now and then. And when I don't know something, I'm not afraid to say, teach me. That attitude has carried me through every decade of my life. So my advice is simple. Never stop learning. The world is full of things to discover, no matter how old you are. And as long as you're learning, you're growing. And that means you're still very much alive. Closing thoughts. It's the small things, done daily, that carry you far. So my dear friends, if you're wondering how I made it to 100, it wasn't luck or fancy secrets. It was these simple, steady habits. Walking every morning, eating real food, staying connected, finding quiet time, and learning something new each day. I didn't do them perfectly. I just did them consistently. And over time, they shaped not just my health, but the way I see life. Getting older doesn't mean giving up. In many ways, it means waking up to what really matters. You don't need to change everything at once. Just start with one small thing today. Go for a short walk. Call an old friend. Sit in silence. Learn something new. Eat a meal that makes you feel good. If I could offer one last piece of advice from a century of living, it would be this. Take care of today, and tomorrow will take care of itself.